First, the big developing story that we have been tracking for you. A Lahore court has convicted global terrorist Hafiz Saeed in 2 terror financing cases. An anti-terror court in Lahore sentenced Saeed to 5 years and 3 months. A fine of 1,50,000 has also been imposed. The 2611 mastermind has been accused of misusing property for funding terror activities. Another case accuses him of using shell companies to collect terror funds. 23 witnesses testified against Hafiz Saeed. The action against him comes right ahead of the FATF meeting, the Global Anti-Terror Financing Watchdog, which is scheduled to meet on the 16th of February in Paris. And right ahead of that crucial meeting, Pakistan seems to be taking these measures. It's already been facing incredible pressure to get out of the FATF grey list. It has been forced to act against terror financing now on its soil, which is part of the 27-point action plan submitted to the global body. This is the first time that the Jamaat-ul-Dawa chief has been convicted in any case. He is currently facing 23 terror-related cases in Pakistan, and despite India's dossier on terror cases against him, he was allowed to roam freely and address anti-India rallies. The founder of the terror outfit, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hafiz Saeed, was banned by the UN Security Council after the 2008 Mumbai terror attack, in which 166 people lost their lives. And our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik has been tracking the very latest. Anas, first, if you can summarize for us what the court has said, what the next few days will be looking like as far as the implementation of this court order are concerned. And secondly, this is, of course, significant given that it's coming just 4 days before the FATF meeting. Pakistan, of course, has been under immense pressure to get itself out of the FATF grey list, given the ramifications for its economy.
Absolutely. First thing first, a landmark judgment coming in. For the first time, Hafiz Saeed, the globally designated terrorist, has been convicted by any court in Pakistan in 2 decades. He has been arrested and released for at least 16 times since 2001, in the past 2 decades. This is the first time he has been convicted in 2 terror financing cases, which basically pertains to the fact that he and Zafar Iqbal, the other person who has been convicted, who also happens to be a globally designated terrorists, they both were using 5 shell organizations for the sake of collecting funds for terror. Now, these cases were registered on the 1st and 2nd of July last year, and subsequently Hafiz Saeed was arrested on the 17th of July, just ahead of the bilateral between Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan and US President Donald Trump that was to take place on the 22nd of July in Washington. Now, if I take you through this case, from the 30th of November, this case was being heard about, and it was being heard on daily basis. 23 witnesses. The cases were being clubbed because they were of similar in nature, so they were being heard by the same judge in the same court. After being clubbed, 23 witnesses had testified against Hafiz Saeed, including top government officials from the land department as well. And they said that Hafiz Saeed was indeed involved in terror financing through these 5 shell organizations. Now, if I take you through, the prosecution was asked to appoint a defense lawyer. The state was asked to appoint a defense lawyer, primarily because Hafiz Saeed's own lawyer was absent for about 4 hearings due to the lawyer's strike, and the Pakistani state gave, quote-unquote, a right to fair trial as per Judge Arshad Hussain Bhutta's own comments in the court on the 3rd of January. After that, a state-driven lawyer was given to Hafiz Saeed. Now, if we talk about this case, the verdict was reserved on the 6th of February. It was due to be announced on the 8th, but then it was deferred until 11th, and today we saw finally this verdict being out. Now, there are another 4 pending cases in the same court under the same judge, which are expectedly to be announced later this week. Again, if I take you through this judgment, what it means is that Hafiz Saeed has been convicted in 2 cases. And the 2 charges upon which he has been convicted, one charge he has been convicted for 6 months, the other charge he's been convicted for 5 years. This is one case, and similarly the other case as well, he's been convicted for 5 years and 6 months. That amounts to about 11 years in prison, but his sentence were done concurrently, so therefore he gets to serve 5 years and 6 months in all in prison, in jail. and he is in jail as we speak. Even now, he gets to remain in Court Lakhpat jail, and this is what the court order says in detail. Now, Pakistan would see this as a victory or something to harbour on or boast about ahead of the plenary meeting, because Pakistani delegation is all set to depart for the FATF plenary meeting this Friday, on the Friday night, and the crucial FATF meeting is all set to begin from Sunday. So Pakistan would want to boast about it. The fact that Hafiz Saeed was one of those people who are, on which Pakistan was being publicly called out by the international community. Additionally, the Pakistani side would also, in its report, be of the opinion that they are trying to implement the 27-pointer action plan in its fullest, and this conviction would be seen as a resolve, or rather would be presented as a resolve against Pakistan by Pakistani side against its fight against in order to curb money laundering and terror financing. Yes, Molly.
All right, and as you're telling us, there's been a pattern of delays and an overall lack of political will. A report that Anas Malik had filed from Islamabad also takes a closer look at why Hafiz Saeed was let off every time. Take a look.
When you hear the name Hafiz Saeed, the first thing that strikes your mind is terror. He is the mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. But the terror history of Hafiz Saeed dates back to 2001. Hafiz Saeed was involved in the deadly attack on the Indian Parliament in 2001, following which he was taken into custody for the first time by Pakistan. Little did people know that this was the first of the many times he would be taken into custody. India had then welcomed the move. Little did India know that this was an eyewash, and that he would be released 11 months later. After his release, Saeed was brought into the mainstream and began spewing venom against India. Some years later, in August 2006, Saeed's name was again in the spotlight. This time in connection with the Mumbai train bombings. Saeed was arrested again and served about 3 months behind the bars, only to be set free again by a Pakistani court. On December 10, 2008, 14 days after the Mumbai attacks, Hafiz Saeed was listed as a globally designated terrorist by the UN. And he was once again arrested and detained by the Pakistani authorities for about 6 months. He managed to walk free again, using the loopholes in the Pakistani justice system. From July 2009 till June 2014, for around 6 years, Saeed faced multiple actions, but most of the practical ones came from international bodies. None of the actions taken by Pakistan were practical. They were cosmetic, as an analysis would show. Hafiz Saeed was first put on trial for the Mumbai attacks. He was charged but acquitted. There was a red corner notice for him, along with a bounty of $10 million on his head announced by the US. But all of this fell short because of the complicity of the Pakistani establishment, which enabled him to continue running his jihad factories and spewing venom against India. Saeed was put under house arrest once again in January 2017, only to be released after 11 months by the Pakistani judiciary. In 2018, Saeed was put on the list of terrorists given by Pakistan, and his organization too was banned. Again, he approached the court for a clean chit and got it in September 2018. The Imran Khan government listed Saeed once again as a terrorist and banned his organizations in February 2019. Again, Saeed went to court. This time, he had run out of luck. The government fought the case and presented arguments. Saeed expressed remorse and sought withdrawal of his application, but this time the court instead rejected his plea. Bureau Report, WION World is One.